80-inch diagonal, that's an A, of the TV. Did anybody really know that before? You did? Okay. Why do you think they do that? I mean, who looks at the diagonal of a television? Well, that's a good question. Is it more than the up and down? Is this length right here, is this more than this length or this length on the sides? Yeah, so when you say 80-inch, everybody's thinking, oh, that's really big. They're thinking it's probably this top length. But it's really kind of smoke and mirrors, right? It's not that big. I mean, it is big, but it's not as big as what people think. Yeah, it's all marketing, What can we tell them, that they'll think it's really large and it's really not. So this says, what is the area of the 80-inch TV? Area, that's an important word for us to know. If we know the screen has a length to height ratio of 16 to 9. Ooh. A length to height ratio of 16 to 9. First of all, what shape is my 80-inch television in? It's a rectangle. Okay, so we know we're finding a rectangle. And we have a screen with a length to height ratio of 16 to 9. So if I were to draw this rectangle, the length comes first, then the height. So what is the length part of the ratio? The length part of the ratio. Is the length 16 or is the length the 9? Yeah, the length is the 16 because this is first and this is talked about first. So the length is a ratio of 16 to a height of 9. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean I have a 16-inch long television screen? Is it? But they just said it was 80 inches on the diameter. How does that work? Diameter. I keep saying diameter. Diagonal. So this is 80 inches on the diagonal. If it's a length to height ratio of 16 to 9, does that mean exactly 16 inches and 9 inches? No. That means it is some multiple of 16 and some multiple of 9. Okay? So it simplifies to 16 and 9. So how could I find what these lengths actually are? If it is a multiple of 16 and 9, how could I represent this actual length right here? And I want to use 16, and I know it's a multiple of 16. Divide. Say more. What do you mean? 80 divided by 9, 80 divided by 16. No, because the 80 is this amount right here, and my 16 and 9 are the ratio of the length to the height. The 16 and 9 has nothing to do with that diagonal. What's a multiple of 16? Nope, that's a factor. Multiples. You want to get bigger. So you start at 16 and you would go 16. And 16 times 2 is 32. 16 times 3 is 48. 16 times 4, etc. Multiples. You multiply to get bigger. Think of it that way. So how could I find an appropriate length That is a multiple of 16. Do we know which multiple? No. So how could I represent a multiple of that length? Put on those thinking caps. A variable. So should I just call it x, the whole thing? Or do I need to tie it in with the 16? That's a good question, isn't it? Should I call this whole length here x? Or do I need to tie it in with this 16? And if this is x, what would I call the other height side? Okay, well, if we do that, I have x and y. And I have this diagonal of 80 inches. I have to find the area of this rectangle, but as you look at this, it's divided into what? What other shape? What is that 80-inch diagonal divided into? Two triangles. What kind of triangles are those? Right triangles. Yeah. Okay, so if I have a right triangle, do you remember some formula from your past that talks about right triangles and how to find the sides? No? Yes? SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA works if you have two of the three sides and usually an angle. And usually it is not this angle, not the 90-degree angle. Usually it has and involves A, B, and C, named by an old guy, old Greek guy, starts with a P. Pythagorean theorem, Pythagorean theorem. What is that Pythagorean theorem? Do you remember? I don't know. Oh my gosh, if you don't know. Does anybody remember Pythagorean theorem? Yeah, you can only use it for a right triangle, and it says a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, where a and b are your lengths of your legs, and c is the hypotenuse, the hippopotamus. I used to have that in here, and it fell down. I don't know where it is right now. Okay, well, the problem is if I say I have a length of x, that would be x squared plus y squared equals, what's my hypotenuse in this problem? 80 squared. So I get x squared plus y squared equals 80 squared, which is what, 6,400? Okay, but I don't know anything about x and y. You mean you just took us on this long journey for nothing, Miss Edie? Well, we have to try some things, right? And sometimes they don't work. So this is not going to work, to put it x and y. So we go back. We said this is in a ratio of 16 to 9. We have to use that ratio. And I also said this is going to be a multiple of 16, but we don't know which one, right? 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 16 times 3 is 48. 16 times 4 is 64, etc., etc. How can I represent this length using 16? So let's get rid of the x and the y. Let's get rid of this, because that's not going to work. Come on, guys. You don't have to be sorry. Do we know which multiple? Yes or no? No. But I know it's got to be 16 times something, right? So how could I represent this side? Couldn't I say 16 times x? Yes. 16 times x, because we don't know what multiple it is, right? So what about this side up here? If it's in a ratio of 16 to 9, it has to be that same ratio, the same x amount. So this is going to be 9x. 9x. And you're thinking, is that really going to help us anymore? Well, I don't know. Let's see. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I'm going to say the length squared plus the height squared equals my diagonal squared. So the length squared is 16x. I have to square that whole thing. Plus the height is 9x squared. And that is equal to my diagonal, which is 80 squared. What is quantity 16x squared? What is the quantity 16x squared? What does it mean? Doesn't it mean, I mean, if you square something, what does that mean? Say it again. Is it just x? If I square 5, if I say what is 5 squared, what would you say? If I say 5 squared, what's the answer for 5 squared? 25. You take 5 times 5. If I say 16x squared, wouldn't you be taking 16x times 16x? Which is, you were very close, 256x squared, because you got to square the x also. I don't think you said that. Okay. But you were right there. So what's 9x squared? Yes, 81x squared. And what is 80 squared again? 6,400? Is that what you said? 8 times 8? Yeah, that's what I said. So what is, can I combine any like terms here? Yeah, what do I get on the left-hand side? Yeah, what x squared? No, I mean, do I have like terms? Aren't the x squareds the same term? So can't I add those together? All right, so what do I get? People, you have some calculators around. What is it? So I have, when you add these together, you only add the coefficients. The x squared is like the last name. It's the type of thing that you have. So that is 337 x squared equals 6,400. Jeez, this is a lot of work, Miss Dee Dee. I know, right? So now what? What are we trying to solve for here? I forget. Yeah, but we're not even close. We got to solve for something else before I get to area. This is crazy. We got to solve for x. How do I solve for x at this point? Divide by what? You've got 337 times x squared equals 6,400. What am I dividing by? Not yet. Yeah, you got to get rid of this in the front, right? And it's being multiplied. You want to do the opposite, so you divide. Guys, let's keep your phones away. Let's work on the problem. So these simplify out to be 1. I have x squared is equal to, what is 6,400 divided by 337? Don't round it. Did you round it? 9. Okay. So keep that. If I don't want x squared, though, I just want x. So how do I find x? Then you take the square root. That's why I didn't want you to round, because whatever you got for an answer, you need to then take the square root of that as it is. That gets you your most precise, accurate answer. So x here is equal to, guys, everybody should be working this. What is it? You should keep whatever you had. You should take the square root of 6,400 divided by 337. What'd you get? 4.357. Is there more or no? Okay, so let's round it to the hundreds place. Well, really, I wanted you to take the square root of that, so you didn't have to, right, so you don't have to worry about that. But we do need a value for x. So rounding to the hundreds place, what is my final answer for x? 4.36. So it's not even a whole number amount. So, gosh, is that a length or is that a height or neither? Is that a length? Did we say x was a length? No, we said it was some factor of a multiple, right? So my length is 16 times x. So you've got to take 16 times 4.36. Okay, that gives you the length. And you need to take 9 times 4.36 to get the height, width, whatever you want to call it. Whew. And what do we get for length and height? Give me to 3 decimals. Okay. Give me whatever decimals they give me then. 69.76. And that would be in inches. Okay. What's the height? 39.24 inches. Is everybody else getting those same things? Okay. So now I have the length and the height. Is that what we needed?
Yes.
No. Well, yes. Is that my final answer? No, we're trying to find area. Area of a rectangle is what formula? Length times width, or length times height, which happens to be what our width is here. So multiply those. 69.76 times 39.24. And what do we get for the area? 0.82382. And this would be inches squared. So if I had to round it, I'd probably say 2,737 square inch TV. And they probably would round that even a little bit more because nobody talks about 37 inches. They might say 2,740. Although that would be a little deceptive. Who knows? That is the area of the rectangle. Mon Dieu, where did this all come from? From a ratio of 16 to 9. No, it does not mean a 16 length by 9. You have to find some common multiple. Okay? Any questions about all of that? That was a lot of work. But hey, we worked through it. Okay? Does it make some sense now? Hope so. A little bit? Little? Not at all? Forget about it. You could not do this again? Really? You're in room E109 at Pike High School. All right, let's take a look at the next problem. What is the area of a 55-inch TV if we know the screen has a length to height ratio of 16 to 9? Oh my God. Okay, see if you can do this one on your own. This time it's a 55-inch TV. I'm going to let you try this on your own. Is it the same answer? Not quite, because the other one was an 80-inch screen. All right. So I'm going to put this. If we know the screen has a length to height ratio of 16 to 9. This is where it still could be helpful to possibly draw a picture. So now, the 55-inch TV, where does the 55 go? In the middle on the diagonal, right? This is 55 inches. This has a length to height ratio of 16 to 9. But is it really 16 and 9? No, it is 16x and 9x, right? Because there's some multiple involved. So then we look and see, this is a right triangle. I should use Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A, I can put in 16x squared plus b, my other side, is 9x squared equals c, my hypotenuse, 55 squared. So we said 16x squared is 256x squared plus 81x squared. I have no idea. What is 55 squared? What is it? 3025. And if I add these, was it 337x squared? Equals 3025. Yes, Miss Dee Dee. I'm sorry, who? Tania Santiago. I think you did. That's okay. Thanks. Bye-bye. No. They were looking for a student, but they called the wrong class. So 337x squared equals 3025. What would I do next? Divide by 337. Divide by 337. X squared is equal to how much? Come on, this is the audience participation. A little bit louder. 8.976. Is that x or x squared? That must have been x squared. Yeah, okay. So then take the square root. Square root. X is just a little lower than 3. 2 point something? 2.995. Right? 2.995. You know what? We're going to say it's 3. We're going to say it's 3. All right, so then this means 16 times x is 16 times 3. That's 48 inches for the length. 9 times 3 is going to be 27 inches here. We need to find the area of this TV. So the length is 48 inches times my height, which is 27 inches. Multiply those together, length times the height, and what do we get? 1,296, and this is inches squared. So that is the size of the 55-inch TV, right? Yes? All right. So how much more area does the 80-inch TV have over the 55-inch TV? What would we need to do? What would we need to do? How much more? How do we find how much more? Subtract. So 2737 minus 1296 gives 1,441 square inches. So, is the advertisement accurate? Wow, let's take a look. It says the 80-inch offers more than double the screen area. It's saying it has more than two times the screen area of the 55-inch. Well, the 55-inch was 1296. More than twice. 1296 times 2, because it says it has more than 2, would be, how much more? 6 times 2 is 12, 9 times 2 is 18, 19, 5, 2,592. That's 2 times the smaller one. So 80-inch offers more than double the screen area. What's my original? 2737. So, is the advertisement right? Is this 2 times plus more? Is the 80-inch, 2,737? I keep forgetting what my number is. Is that more than 2 times double of the smaller one? Yes. This is more than 2 times the 55-inch, because here is double the 55-inch TV. So yes, the ad is accurate. Woo! All right. So there it is. Make sure, and I know I have several homeworks for 3-2. I need to hopefully look at that tonight. That you are and get finished with 3-1 and 3-2, okay, before Thanksgiving break. We will have a little bit of a class tomorrow, okay, maybe more lore. I don't know. Yes, question?
For finals, are we doing another project?
Nope. Finals is not a project. It is a big test. It is a big test. We will have a big review. We will have, I think, a week of review. You're not screwed. You're not screwed. There will be a week of review. You should work on that, and we'll work on certain things, and you should ask questions about those things. But yeah, you're going to have to work during the review. Okay? Don't just sit there and be on your phones. What? Would I do that? Well, hopefully not. All right? Also, don't forget, if I don't have your project yet, or you want to increase your score for the project, I'd really like to get that by tomorrow. Nobody wants to work on that over Thanksgiving, right? Okay. So please make sure you're working on that. All right, that's all I got. If you aren't going to be here tomorrow, have a safe, nice Thanksgiving. I hope most of you are here. You want to pass?